food? No.
Especially if you speak. You got to be there, so. It's tough. It's tough.
Covers up the ugly.
It is 10 a.m. I call this meeting to order. Roll call, sir.
Commissioner Mullins. Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Present.
Quorum is present.
As you desire, please stand for the pledge and you read. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most holy and glorious Lord God, the great architect of the universe, we come to you, we praise you, we say thank you for all the wonderful things that you have given us. Please give us the courage, the wisdom, and serenity to do what is right in your eyes, Lord. We just pray for this great country and this great nation. In Christ's name we pray.
Consent agenda is consists of approval of last week's meeting. Sales tax report, we gave that last week. We're up to 8.34% for the year. Certificate of training for treasurer and assessor. Monthly reports, treasurer, auditor, and recorder of deeds. Cost changes for an asphalt job on Hillsborough Road. And final assessed valuation of 2020. And I understand we'll get a report on that later in the meeting. Okay, all in favor, aye? Well, we didn't have a motion. Okay, good. I'll second. You second. All in favor, aye? Thank you. There is one table agenda item, and that is the City of Deloge wishes to annex a portion of Rice Road. Now we're going to address this. Somebody here from Deloge?
They took official action last Tuesday. Is that not correct?
Correct. They did.
I mean, I just read it, but they did, and they're asking us to do a ceremonial act. Now that they said that they would accept it, that we would.
This was tabled last week's meeting, Commissioner, because the City of Deloge was going to have their meeting, which last week's meeting was on Monday. They were going to have their city council meeting that Monday evening, and the mayor and city administrator was here last week. I don't see them here today. And they were going to vote on that at their city council meeting Monday night. I really don't know the outcome of that meeting. Maybe you gentlemen do.
So it passed, so they would accept
The annexation of that portion into the City of Deloge.
We tabled it because we had to have their action saying that they would accept it before we
Transferred it.
Right, right.
Okay, so the City of Deloge wishes to accept this road, and so our decision now is whether we wish to let them do that.
convey it to
Let
them.
annex a portion of Rice Road that we did not maintain, nor was it a part of road and bridge infrastructure, but it was a county right of way.
Does it affect our operation as a county in any manner?
Not one bit.
All right, will we convey the land?
Yes, it will be, it's public land now, and it will be annexed into the City of Deloge.
Okay.
Is
All
that-
right, so we are, as a county, I just want to make sure we're doing this right. The county, we're not giving up anything, and they're just going to annex, or are we supposed to relinquish?
Well, my understanding to a degree is if a city annexes both sides of a road, they annex the road as well. And we just
This will be
transfer that.
adjacent to an area that is already within the City of Deloge, just in the next.
So it's not gonna be abandonment, it'll
City.
just be a transfer.
To the city limits.
So my question is, the motion then is going to be to facilitate the transfer to Deloge.
In fact, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Say it again, please.
I motion that we take action to transfer this to the City of Deloge.
Second? Any questions or comments? All in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. It's done. Okay, request for proposal for auditing services. We're going to open that publicly.
We've won.
One, okay. And who's that from? So it's the one that's been doing our
Current.
auditing. And Louis, I guess this will be worked on next week, on the agenda next week.
We'll present it next week,
Okay.
pending approval or
Right.
not.
We will, the county clerk and the auditor will look through this and make sure that first of all the criteria are met, and then decide on if it's an agreeable deal.
It'll be a little higher next year, gentlemen, because we're due for a single audit, primarily because of some of the actions you're going to take concerning the CARES program.
And this is the cost for that. They quoted county stuff.
Okay. And that's available for public viewing afterwards. Okay, that's done, so that's all of it, right?
That's correct.
Okay, Wolf Creek Fire Protection Association, a boundaries question. Sir, come to the microphone and start with your name, please.
Yes, sir. And I have neuropathy, so I got to hold on to the pole.
Understand.
My name is Frank Adderott. I'm an attorney in St. Louis, and I'm the lawyer for Wolf Creek Fire Protection Association, which is a fire association, not a fire protection district. It's an incorporated entity, it has been for many years. And what we discovered was that every fire protection association, including Wolf Creek, is required by statute, and statute's old but frequently ignored, unfortunately, by not just in Francis, but every county, says this, 320.310. All volunteer fire protection associations, and I take this off of this,
You're listening, sure, okay.
in section 320.300, shall identify the association's boundaries and file the same with the county administrative body. So that's the only purpose of us doing this today, is to file our boundaries. And I don't think it's any secret that eventually we would like to become a fire protection district. We have good relationships with the neighboring fire protection associations. There's no boundary disputes, as they do in some counties, over fire tags and things like that. But we want to file this as the first step. Now, this Fire Protection Association is located in St. Francis, but also in St. Genevieve. So I'm going to ask the chief, Martin Mabry, to come up.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
You're using the word association and district. Is there a difference there?
Yes, a district is a tax-supported fire protection association. It's called a fire protection district. And you have to get 100 signatures, and then you have to go to the voters for that. And that may be later, depending on the voters and the board. Because right now, we're just a volunteer association, not-for-profit corporation like anybody else, existing on fire tag income.
I live in that district and I pay an annual fee. I understand that, okay.
So what we like to do is to file, what I understand from previous experience with filing these with county commissions is there is no action to be taken by you other than now it's the filing. So we actually, the chief's going to explain the borders and also where the boundary line is between St. Francis and St. Genevieve. Chief Mabry. And by the way, Charlie Giesing, who's our president, is sitting next to the chief. So this is Chief Bart Mabry.
Dan, you've got something there, what do you?
I just got our copy of the boundaries in case the commission.
Okay. And this, okay, well, I guess it's the same one he did.
Yeah, the actual file.
It's all in green.
We'll give it to him right before we do that.
All right, yeah. What we found working with the different entities through the county is a lot of times when it comes to associations, things aren't filed appropriately, and there's a lot of discrepancy between what the department thinks they have, or the boundary line is, and what the county has documented. Now, the assessor, the board, Mr. Ward, yes.
He just brought this to
Yeah.
us, yeah.
I've talked to him a few times in the past, and the assessor is kind of detracted just based on the fact that no one else really has any maps, but they are not the recording authority of the association. But when it comes to taxes, associations really don't matter. That's only for the fire districts, and for districts, there's only, in this county, I think Go Run is a district. Bismarck has a district, but they operate as an association, which is kind of complicated. And I think that may be it. Leadwood, thank you. Yes, Leadwood is a district. And then everybody else is either a municipal, which is like Deloge, Park Hills, Farmington, and then you have the associations, which is Wolf Creek, Big River. And,
Missouri?
well, then you're getting into another county there, St. Jude. Go Run's a district, they're a tax district. So there's a mixture of things within the county, but as our council said, to operate and get all the benefits that the state statutes allow the association, they must be quote unquote filed with the county. So that's what we're trying to make sure our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed today with this. And we did bring a poster in case anybody's interested, but we do have the county line here, so we're interested into the, obviously, the western half. You see where we go around the city of Farmington, but we're pretty much east of Highway 67, minus the city of Farmington, and the southern end of the county. So we follow the Madison County line at the bottom, Highway 67 on the west, meander around the city of Farmington, and then we share a boundary with Park Hill City, who operates as, has some of the same benefits as an association, because they're a volunteer city department operating in the
It's the green on this picture here.
Okay, yeah, pretty close to that. So, and then, we meet up with Big River, and then we cross the county line, and then we're in St. Genevieve. And we'll, like he says, we'll be doing the same thing with them. This isn't really any change. We made, some things were kind of a gray area before, but we actually made them a hard line and paid Taylor Engineering to come up with these maps, and they have a meets and bounds, very detailed description that we will be submitting with the petition as the final.
Okay, now you're gonna be butting up against other protection associations and districts. Have they all agreed with the new lines, or with these lines? Have they had an opportunity to see them?
They've had an opportunity, but associations can also overlap. It's not like a district where it has to, or school districts, you know, they can't overlap. There has to be said, fire associations, we could really file the whole county, but we don't, there's no reason we want to do that. So there may be some overlapping, but then it comes to us to work that out of who's gonna actually serve. Because when it comes to 911, there can only be one primary. We don't want to confuse emergency response.
And you have mutual aid with all the others.
Oh, yeah, countywide mutual aid, there's no issue
Okay.
there.
Basic question. There's some little bump arounds here and there.
Mhm.
But other than that, are there any changes in your boundaries? I mean, any massive changes, any?
There's no massive changes, and it gets hard to define a change because it depends on where you look of what the past ones were. So I could probably find you 3 or 4 different technical boundaries of ours. You know, what Mr. Ward has on file, what I thought they were, what 911 has, they're all kind of different. So we were trying to come up with one official that we had, you know, documented properly as the line, so we get rid of the ambiguity.
I get a letter from you every year with that bill. Have you added any people to that with these changes? Mailing list?
No, there should not be any changes to that.
So if I understand, you need to file it with the clerk or with the recorder of deeds or with whom?
We have to file it with the commission according to the statute.
Okay.
And then we're going to take our own affidavit and record it so that we have filed it with you. It's just an acknowledgement that we recorded. Only because this horse and buggy statute is every year requires it. And we expect our neighboring districts to do the same, neighboring associations to do the same thing. They haven't done it, and in St. Genevieve, I checked with their clerk, nobody has done it either, it just hasn't been done. And in Perry County and a couple other counties, the only reason why it became important was because there was some dispute over where the line was, and the fire tags are important, obviously, so everybody wants to get that fire tag in their district. So they've had some issues, but we have no issues here in St. Francis County. The associations get along fine. We don't, and I mean that sincerely, there's no issue about the lines. We just have to follow the statute. And of course, the legal description is important to us because if we get 100 signatures and the voters vote to start Wolf Creek Fire Protection District, then we'll have to have the exact meets and bounds description and a map to go to the courthouse. So that was another reason why we're doing this.
Is there any downside to this?
The only downside is if we don't get it accomplished, because then if you read through a lot of the statutes that deal with fire protection associations, pretty much all the power is granted to us, is only granted to us if they are, our boundaries are filed. And we could lose our authority to collect.
Okay.
So does this require a motion to accept it, or just present it as a report filed?
I think we need to act on this.
Minutes that you presented.
This needs action from us, correct?
Just acknowledge the filing.
Accept and file.
I would move
Yeah.
that we accept the filing of the Wolf Creek Fire Protection Association boundary.
Second that motion.
Is there any questions?
Sorry.
Any questions or comments? All in favor of accepting this boundary, direction, outline, what?
File.
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 Please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, we
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much.
We're gonna file with Mr. Engler
That's
the actual
petition,
small map.
bounds, and the maps. all of
I guess that needs signatures. We'll get that after. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Commissioner, appreciate it.
Okay, next item is continuation of paving projects from the previously awarded bids.
Clay Copeland from Broken Bridge. Commissioners, back in the spring, when the onset of COVID came on, it was requested of our department that we act a little conservatively because we didn't know what the economy was going to do for the remainder of 2020. Well, so we did. But as was presented at last week's meeting, sales tax revenue is up. We are not necessarily in a budget crisis per se at Broken Bridge. So we have another project that we would like, a small project that we would like to add to one of our paving projects. Approximately a month ago, the paving project was awarded for the Randolph Road Bridge approach, which is a very small half-a-day project for them to overlay the asphalt. Well, since that time, we have completed the Colony Church Bridge. The compaction is where it needs to be. The approaches to it are now gravel, and we would like to have this paved before winter sets in, which will probably be here in just a few weeks. Were we to bid this out, it would take another 2 weeks. We wouldn't be able to even begin on this until mid-November. So it's another small project that we would like to add with our other small bridge project that was awarded to our lowest bid contractor. I spoke with them, and they would be willing to do it at the original bidded ton price that they bid the Randolph Bridge for. I spoke with 2 other contractors, paving contractors, about this, and they do not have time to do it. They're backed up. They had some COVID issues with some of their employees that set them behind, and then they have a stack of paving projects to do that there's no way they can get to it, to even do it. So I would just like to ask if the commission would allow us just to add this other small project to the original bid at the original ton price to be completed.
What road is it and what company is it?
This would be, the one that we're going to add is just the bridge approaches on Colony Church, the bridge we just completed there. We'd like to get them done before winter and have that gravel, turned to asphalt. And it's Birnbaum and Contracting. Now, they were the ones that was awarded the bid on Randolph Bridge Approach. It's a very similar project that they're going to do next week, and they could get this finished for us next week.
How much time we had on compaction of that particular bridge approach?
About 2 months.
Okay. It
And
helped,
it's-
it won't answer it, so.
No, and it's very well compacted. We've had some rains on it. It's compacted in. It would just be practical for us to get this finished before winter.
All right.
I move that
Hold on a second. Would this be considered more of an emergency action rather, since, if you want to get it done in that period of time, rather, since we didn't?
Why does that affect that?
Because you didn't bid it out.
You didn't bid it out, so how much are we talking about?
We did bid that out, didn't we?
We bid the original approach out.
And they
And
did
this
not
is
get
gonna
it.
be one extended. The total price for them doing this is $14,886.
20,000? 14?
14. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, the original bill, that wasn't them, but the people that got it can't do it because of their COVID problems, whatever, so
Well,
you're.
they don't have time.
So you're switching, which is fine, but we've got a time frame less than a couple of
Okay.
weeks, so I would be considered saying this is probably
We need
accepted
this done
under
before
emergency
winter time.
rather than.
We would like to have it done before winter, and I'm sure the citizens on Colony Church Road will.
Okay, well, we'll do this under emergency.
Yeah, I move that we permit this under an emergency clause and get this done before winter.
Second. Questions? Comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I'll write the letter as you need it. Okay, CARES application. There are the ones that we are awarding today. We still have 22% of the funds available after this. I think nearly all of those, we're going to approve this today if I get the vote. But most of the checks can't go because there's some still little tweaks that need in the application. And almost everyone, they left a blank on the list of officers in the organization, or they didn't provide actual proof of the payment. They may have sent a copy of a check that they wrote, but not the cash check. And we need to know that check did go through and the money came out of their bank account. It's a federal government thing and it's gotta be done. So, with approval, we will approve these, award them. But the money flows when these people finalize their application to the satisfaction of the officers.
I move that we make the awards.
I will second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
There you go, thank you. Scrap tire grant.
Yes, Commissioners, I filled out, applied, and was accepted for a scrap tire grant. Now, back on June 2nd, I asked this commission for approval to apply for a scrap tire grant, and that passed with unanimous support. Our road and bridge superintendent and highway administrator has stated several times in the past that there is a definite need for the tire cleanup grant. I sat on the judging committee for these specific grants of the Regional Planning Commission, and St. Francis County was awarded the grant. St. Francis County has a total area of 455 square miles and almost 400 miles of county roads. A total of 8 entities turned in grants, 2 from St. Francis County. I obviously turned in the scrap tire grant. And Alan Abishon, who is the director of the transfer station, he turned in also. He will be receiving 2 40-yard roll-off containers for a total cost of $10,746.50, and they will be receiving $8,059.87. The roll-off containers that they had been they just worn out. They were patched beyond repair, and safety was the major concern. We will also be receiving financial assistance to help with this grant. We will be receiving a check for almost $10,000 from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Solid Waste Division. This will be most certainly enough to pay for the recycling, but more important, kind of reimburse the St. Francis County taxpayers on fixed costs for like employees, gasoline, that kind of thing. So it's not much, but it's better than nothing. It's moving in the right direction. So how is this funded? In accordance with state law, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources has authorization to provide grant funds to each of the officially designated solid waste management districts for the utilization and funding of solid waste management projects. The Solid Waste District is a subcommittee that I sit on at the Regional Planning Commission. A major provision included in Senate Bill 530 was the creation of financial incentives designed to stimulate resource recovery within the state. The source of these funds is the per ton tipping fee levied on solid waste. And transfer station, St. Francis County, that's $90 a ton, and that's built in there. So the fund is being administered by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Solid Waste Management Program. Back in 2013, we held a scrap tire event. We collected 13,000 tires. Now this was done over a course of several months. This year it's going to be a lot different. This will be a 2-day event. The event will be held on November 5th and 6th. You will be required to drop off the tires at our road and bridge facility located on Woodland Drive right next to the county sale barn. We will only be accepting normal size vehicle tires. No rear tractor tires or heavy equipment tires. Now, if you have more than 10 tires, please call our Road and Bridge Department at 573-431-4794. You will be put on a list. Our employees may come to you and pick them up. If we do come pick them up, you will be required to set them next to the road for ease of pickup. This is also at the discretion of our Road and Bridge Superintendent Clay Copeland and Highway Administrator John Gross. Now we are shooting for a goal of 5,000 tires. I set that high, but it's built in. Now once we receive them, then at our leisure, at our time on a slow day, we will truck the tires to High Ridge and they'll recycle them on the spot. And then we'll bring the material home.
We're looking at a number of uses: flower beds, erosion control, and trails at our county park. Now, this is a pilot project, and other counties in the Southeast District are certainly going to be contacting me and see what the pros and the cons were. So we are, I'm excited about this, but and here's an interesting note. Because tires are highly durable and non-biodegradable, they can consume valued space in landfills. In 1990, it was estimated that over 1 billion scrap tires were in stockpile in the United States. As of 2015, only 67 million tires remain in stockpile. So I would like to keep that going, and if you have any questions, you feel free to call me, or you can call our road and bridge superintendent and call the county barn, and we'll see, we'll keep pushing forward and shoot for gold.
Just to throw out a number, in the United States, we produce and use 1 tire per person per year. So that's about 338 tires per year. Okay, anything else? That's not an action on that.
No, we already.
That's a report.
Just a report. November 5th.
Okay, we're
and 6th.
gonna open the bids, or the ballots, I'm sorry, for the loggers. How many, you got a bunch? You want us to go to something else while you're opening that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna
We'll
move
open that
on.
in front of the people, but
Yeah, this is a public opening. Somebody can come up and look over their shoulder if they wish, but we're gonna move on and then come back. Approve the holiday schedule, and I don't have that up here, but, same basically as this year.
is Festivus on there?
Okay, I have a motion on that.
I would move that we approve the same holiday schedule as we did in 2020 for 2021.
And I second.
Okay, any questions? All in favor, aye? Aye, thank you. Change an attorney in Spire, Missouri Natural Gas Appeal. Dan?
Dan Ward, County Assessor, thank you, Commissioner. This is a situation where the previous attorney that represented us since 2013, Richard Reed, is in his 80s, and he has decided to retire, I think 87. And Mr. James Layton, it was a different firm that we're going to be representing all the counties in this multi-county appeal. But because it is a different attorney with a different company, we felt that we needed to set up a contract with that individual in order to use him in our continued efforts to expire and their appeal on the past value.
How does it affect the cost?
Pardon me?
How does it affect the cost?
It should not affect the cost at all. Most of them charge the same, and we feel that this gentleman is doing the same thing. So it also is divided among the other counties. We have a certain percentage that we pay, and so far, so good. We've had a great working relationship with the school districts in our county that are involved to help offset that cost.
Okay, and the new attorney has a good reputation.
Yes, they talked with all the assessors on this at length, and his background, and send out the information necessary, so how long he's done business, what he's done.
And is he familiar with what's done?
Yes.
Going on?
Well, he's up to speed on everything.
Okay. Motion?
I move on the request of the assessor, we move to, like move that you would be permitted to change attorneys
And the contract.
and enter into a contract.
I will second.
Questions on that? All in favor, aye? Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Sale of surplus printer and plotter.
We have a plotter that no longer is compatible with our software, and it will not work with our software. We have purchased it since then, a new one it is. We should have a freestanding plotter down there that is not usable by this office. And I know that the county uses a different company to sell articles, but these plotters are not allowed to be evidently on that. So Gov Deals, I think it is.
Gov Deals is our old one. I was gonna ask about Purple Wave.
We looked at Purple Wave, and they would not allow evidently us to put the plotter on it.
I looked this morning, and they do have office supplies and equipment.
I don't know, we'll let Judy look at it too, and we were not able, we'll look at it again.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll
We
do
get
it.
better results from Purple
But
Wave.
if it does not compatible for our plotter to sell it on it, we're going to acceptance fee.
Well, let's word a motion to allow either one.
I move that we, on the request of the assessor, make this surplus and be disposed by whatever means.
I'll second.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. And they have office supplies and equipment on that.
Okay,
on the
we'll double
website.
check it, but we somehow.
If you talk to someone, that's different.
The other question I meant to ask, I forgot, Danny Edgar, our mapper, will be retiring next year, and he has shown an interest in possibly purchasing it if it is not moved through some of these organizations. And I don't know how that process works, but I did want to mention it, that he is interested if it's affordable. Right now, we're looking at the prices, it could be anywhere from 900 to 1,000, but every year, of course, it goes down. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that he has an interest in it, and I don't know what process
I don't know how.
he would be able to do that.
I don't know how that
Normally,
works.
we don't sell county employees.
Dan?
Harold, in the past, like vehicle surplus, if we sell things like that, we just have employees bid on the site, like deals or Purple Wave, whatever.
Same way the road bridge, when we sell things and our employees are interested, we tell them to just bid on it like anybody else would. And they do.
That'll work. Thank you. Okay,
Still do both.
okay, no comment, no other comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you. And approval to hire Misty Hedrick. Mr. Assessor.
This is a clerk position that became open again. We had one, it was filled. The young lady didn't feel that the assessor's office was the path that she wanted to follow in her career. So we reopened it up, and we got some other applications we had, and we found this young lady here that is very interested, and so we're asking to be able to put her in that position.
Okay.
I would move on the recommendation of the assessor to hire Misty Hedrick to fill the previous deputy clerk one position.
And I'd second that motion.
Questions, comments? All in favor, aye? Aye, thank you. Okay, Dan, you're still up.
This is basically our annual destruction of records that we're required to, or allowed to be able to get rid of after so many years, and we are looking at the 2015 records to be able to get permission and to destroy those.
Will they be burned, or how would you get?
Normally what I do is I load them up in my pickup truck, take them out to the Pine Sheriff's Office, they build a fire for them, they go to Bridgeport, and I.
It's a hot fire too, I've watched it.
It's a lot of records, it takes a while.
It would be an expensive thing to get the shredder in.
It would be too
This
expensive.
completely destroys that stuff.
Well, I'd make the motion that we allow the destruction of these records as per statute.
And I will second.
Questions, comments? Yes?
I know with our stuff, and this may be different for them, but we have to keep 5 years back. So wouldn't that include the remaining part of 2015? Or, like, right now it's 2020, so I mean, if it's October, you would need to keep October through December of 15, or are you destroying all of 15? I don't know if it's different.
All these are your personal property forms that you fill out that come in that we keep on file in our computer so we can print those off if necessary. There's cases and cases of those, and they're all personal property from what I've seen. Is that correct, Mindy?
That's right.
Mindy, would you like to come up and address that? I didn't think so.
Okay, are you saying you have digital copies of everything here?
Yeah, everything is scanned, that's one of the big things. When we get personal property forms in, they are scanned and put into our system, and then those are filed and put them back into the storage.
Okay. Well, we could approve this, and then if there's a glitch on this, just wait the 2 months until 2021 to do
Is
it.
there any issue on this that we need to be aware of that we haven't done in the past?
I don't see anything. We've always disposed of them at this time.
Okay.
We just asked to give us a couple days notice.
Yeah, it'll be weeks before we probably get to it anyway.
Think of some
Catch a cold rainy day.
marshmallows.
Yeah.
No, you don't, no.
They don't.
I'm gonna make sure my truck's,
The marshmallows will be roasted from about 100 feet away. Okay, have a motion to destroy the 2015 records of the assessor's office.
My second.
And all, questions, comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you, Dan.
thank you.
Going back to the vote for the representative going to.
Oh, yeah, okay, now it's time to do the vote.
Clay has, will be the representative.
What's the tally?
40-19.
43-19, okay. Well, close call, but you win.
Yeah, you're slipping there. You had a bigger margin like that.
Congratulations, Kay, you didn't even campaign for that one,
I did.
that I know of.
No, I did not.
That I know of. Next meeting, next week, there you go.
When you're saying next meeting, you might wanna think about whether you're going to do it on November 3rd, whether, I know that's a couple weeks ahead, but I know in your plans, if you set bid openings, whatever, we will not be here on the 3rd.
Yeah, how
These
about
things
that?
are
Do we
kinda
want to,
cooked.
Yeah, I think we talked about that earlier too, and I think I moved that we just omit that meeting due to the,
Yeah, so don't put any bid openings on that day if you could, that you, I know that you think that far out when you start doing those things, so just,
Well-
if you're not gonna have a meeting, that's not set a bid opening on that day.
what I'm hearing is we're not gonna have the meeting, that's the preference, so
We
let's
have a special
do that,
meeting
let's
sometime.
avoid the meeting on election day.
Right.
Okay. Correspondence. Public comments. Yes, Dan?
Just add one thing, that let everybody know, that, longtime citizen, outside of Bismarck, John Sapp, passed away over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on several of the state committees,
Yeah.
environmental and agricultural. and-
Farm Bureau.
Yes, Farm Bureau.
He was president of Farm Bureau.
John talked me into running for the Board of Aldermen over there years ago.
You still hate him?
No, no.
No. He's a great guy.
John's a longtime Bismarck stalwart over there. Okay, thank you, Dan. Any other public comments? Departmental reports.
Let me give you a report on the election we're in. We're considering, we're open 8 to 4. Some people have called about not being able to get there by 4, so it's a possibility. I'd like some feedback, and if anybody else is hearing that out there, I'd like to know about it, because that last week we may be open to like 6 or something if we decide to do that. But we've had 2,600, over 2,600 people vote in person. We've sent out 1,800 mail-in ballots, and the reason I'm gonna bring it up today, next week, the 21st is the last day you can request a mail-in ballot. You can vote up to the day of the election in person in absentee form, but you cannot request a ballot after that day through the mail.
registration's closed, right?
And the registration is closed.
Would you please report on assessed valuation?
Yes. Next, last year, and I thank Linda for putting these numbers together, got them back this morning. Last year, we were $821,222,613.70. And this year, we're at $856,788. So 30-something $1 million increase, which is around 4%, I believe. So that's pretty good increasing as far as just without a reassessment.
Okay.
Almost all new construction.
I have a question on the election. Kevin, can you clarify, is it state statute or law that employers have to allow their employees time to vote?
It's my understanding it is, but I'm hearing that some employers don't
Right.
adhere to that, and we wish they would. We give them 6 weeks during that time period. We give them the Saturday before, but that's why we're considering, because some of them aren't doing so, and we like the people to have the opportunity, but I'll make a decision on this week. It's if we keep hiring more and more. The last 2 weeks, we've got, 6 or 7 hired every day, extra people. That's how busy we got. On Friday, we did almost 200, so we had 3 extra workers, and it's whether we can, we've made the time period very long, but what we like to do is accommodate people and self-employed and people who can't get off. I don't know, but I've got 2 calls this weekend saying, hey, why, you need to make it longer, so we're gonna look and see if the feasibility of that, since our 3 primary ladies over there are working plenty past that time on paperwork every night, having next on the 19th, we start down in the meeting room, and we will have a full precinct. So if we do something, it will be that weekend, will be done by poll workers, while our other workers are up the hall continuing to process paperwork. Most people don't realize, but when you request a absentee ballot through the mail, most of them have to be done by farm. So we have to send out the farm, get the farm back. Then we have to have 2 people process it. 2 people have to independently verify that that's the signature, social security number's right, address is correct, then they put a label on interior envelope, have to put a ballot in there, have a label for the exterior, have to have it stamped on both envelopes, sent out. Now, almost half the mail-in ballots that we're getting back, people are walking in giving to us.
So you bought postage for nothing?
So we bought postage for nothing, and it took us about 15 minutes on average to process the thing, and then they bring it back. And so if they bring it back to us, we have to process another set of paperwork to show that they didn't come through the post office. So, you know, he knows that, he's had to do, so they have to sign another paper, because we have to then verify and then put it in the computer that it came in, and when it came in, the day it came in.
So
and
this is
brought it
an
in.
education problem somewhat?
I have people that, they're back, 10 times as many people have requested them. So this is the first time a lot of people have requested absentee. They don't realize that they could just come in, because now they're wanting to make sure it's been counted, so they're bringing them in. So the point is, those 3 ladies are back there doing the paperwork that corresponds with that, and it all has to be on the computers. So we have to use the poll workers, Bob's doing a lot of that, to actually vote the people. I think most of you have been out there. It's going real well. The question that I would like to feedback from people from is, do you think we need to extend it for a few days? And I think it would have to be like a week block, because it's tough to say, well, we'll be there on Thursday, but won't be there on Tuesday, you know. So we're looking at that from 4 to 6. But that's kind of where it is. But those ladies and everything in there, we have 3 connections to the state website, and then those computers get loaded on how many people have voted. So if you voted previously and you go to you've already voted, if you go down there to Libertyville, they'll say, no, you've already voted. But there is a gap there between, so we have to then manually get out to the people that voted the Monday prior, the Saturday prior, saying that these people showed up and you cannot let them vote a second time. So there's a lot of paperwork that they're doing over there. The question is, do we want to extend the hours for that last
So
week?
the answer for us would be early voting.
Absolutely. You're in there, easy in and out. If you saw where Georgia started the first day of in-person voting yesterday, it was a 6-hour wait. I believe if we get 68, 69, 67% turnout, in some precincts it's going to be an hour-and-a-half wait. How long it would take to get?
And what's the weather gonna be that day?
It's snowing. If it's 2020, it's 5. So, and blizzard conditions, and we'll have people down the street. And
My wife
so,
and I have decided
get in.
that we're gonna continue that as long as it's available. It's much more pleasant.
It was a very pleasant experience to go out there, easy, quick.
Well, Bob, some of the ones that are doing it, and Linda's lining up all of our workers, all of our workers have been showing up, so that part's good. The question is, do we want to expand it that last week into the evening so that.
So that'd be your choice.
Amber?
I don't know the logistics behind that, but would it be possible to encourage people to make an appointment for after hours? So you didn't stay late every day, but you were there just if people had called and said, I'm interested in coming in between 5 and 6, or I can't be there till 6,
We
then
either
you
have,
could stay there.
that's a good point, but she either has to sign the people, they're separate from our people, to work a couple hours, because, for example, you volunteer to go and do that a few hours or a couple of days a week. It will be easier for us to get them to just stay a certain amount of days from 4 to 6, whether people show up or not, than trying to get him to call and say, we're going to call you if somebody calls to make an appointment to get in, I think.
Just a
But
regular
I've
schedule.
checked every other county clerk what they're doing. This is happening all over the state. Not as many people are doing as many pre-vote, but everybody's just petrified of the lines that will happen on election day, and we don't want to discourage voters, because you got an 80-year-old, they drive by Bonterra, and the line's 3 blocks down the street.
We're just gonna keep on.
You know, a lot of them aren't going to want to stand in those lines. I saw people in wheelchairs in those lines yesterday in Georgia, and we don't want to do that.
If you anticipate 67% say voter turnout, how many voters would that be?
About 26,000. And what my goal is to try to get 30 to 33% of that voted early at our office. Now that was, you know, where you work, you all have there at Ellis, that will make it busy all day, but maybe not out the door.
Right.
You know, we're taking 20% off, or 30% off, or 30, you know, 33. The reason I say 20, because I think Farmington will have 30% better, because a disproportionate amount of people in Farmington are voting here Elvin's, it may be 20 to 25%, but that will take that precinct from unmanageable to about 20% more than you did in August.
Right.
You know, and if we could do that and only have, we did 30-something% in August, if that would get up to 50-something%, you probably have it, if you get up to 68%,
Big wait time.
there's gonna be a big wait time. So we're trying to work that out, but I've had several requests to have some evening hours, and we'd have to, because if I advertise, it's gonna have to be a certain period of time, because I'm gonna have to get these guys to come in and work at least. Our other ladies are already doing the overtime. That's why I don't mind them being there, because we will be able to change addresses and things like that if we have to, because they'll still be there working.
Is this something that would be covered by our Habit Care grant?
Yes, it is. I believe all of our, so you know, work comp that we're doing, that because of assigning this many people, is being currently assigned to that and paid out. That same way with our poll workers. When we go up to 6 or 7 poll workers every day, we will have several thousands of dollars of extra poll worker pay. We've got that grant for $47,000. We tried to not use that much of it, cleaning supplies, those type things, but now we're using it in personnel. I think that's the best way it can be used. Rather than having 20-something different sites with glass partitions that will be used one time, I think we're gonna let and still have a hour-and-a-half wait. I think it's better to have more personnel and have less wait on all 21 different precincts the day of the election.
So just to say, it would come out of grant funds, not county funds to pay
Yeah,
these
we're
poll
not,
workers
we're
extra.
taking almost all this out of grant funds.
Okay, any other, Jared, you've got a survey out, or no, a training session, I'm sorry, about the computer. You want to talk about that?
Yep.
This is IT, by the way.
We did a cybersecurity training this past couple of weeks, and so far we're at 60% complete with the entire employee throughout the county, which is a good start compared to where we have been the last couple of years, not doing a lot of it. We will probably start in November with training everybody, at least get one phishing email a week to keep it up to date, and getting newsletters out.
Sending out bait.
Right, and sending out newsletters once a week to tell you guys about the latest cybersecurity threat that's happening around the country. I get reports every day from Homeland Security about what's being hit, what's being targeted. I've even talked with the Mindy last week about, they went to assessor's meeting, and one of their conference meetings was about cybersecurity and how important it is with everyday office and stuff. So just trying to drill that in people's heads of realizing it's the way of the era now, because everything's computerized.
And Tyler got attacked last week.
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and they still have issues with some of the programs.
Yeah.
Getting in and out.
Hope everybody changed their password since then.
I hope so too. I mean, we can make it.
Well,
or if we
apparently
have
they
to,
have,
but-
apparently they haven't changed their passwords because they keep calling us.
That's what it is.
Well, a lot of them, they reset it, and I guess they don't go back to their email and check to reset that way, because that's the only way that you can reset through Tyler program. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Looking at Sheriff Dan,
Don't draw down on
I got a report, that the footings and the first blocks and the plumbing is being done at their building, which reminds me, even though you've taken official action, you got to do contracts at some point.
Well, I was supposed to get 2 copies of that, and I haven't seen them yet. They're supposed to deliver them here.
Okay, I just followed
But I
up,
haven't
because
seen
we
them.
haven't processed it.
I haven't seen them yet.
Okay, I was just reminding, because I thought I haven't
Colin
got
was
those.
here and he left, and I was hoping to talk to him about that.
I will text them and find out where they are,
Tell
because
him
we
where
need to get
are.
those on
Pass
file.
them with them, yeah. Okay. Any other department? Yes, Dan?
Yes, those coat cells are coming up out of the ground fastest I've ever seen Brock Miller work. And,
It's because they might
Take
not get paid.
Take a look, we got blocks there and they're getting ready to start up the wall.
So a cell block has a different meaning to you right now.
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other departmental reports?
I move to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.